Hey, welcome to River Church Online. I'm Pastor Derek Turner, and along with my wife Sarah, we pastor River Church right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'd love to have you join us for a visit. You're always welcome. Sundays, 10 a.m., we meet in person. You can get all the information you need to schedule a visit at rivercharlotte.com, and we'd love to hear from you. But thanks for joining us today. We're continuing a little series called Choosing the Good. And I think in our culture of so much division, so much evil, so much political shenanigans and divides, and including in the church, things going on that just aren't good. I think we are called as followers of Jesus to choose the good. So we're going to dive into how that can make a difference in your life and the lives of others when we're choosing to try and lead a life of love. But sit back, enjoy the worship. We're going to take a time of worship here with our worship team, and then I'll be back right after that to dive into choosing the good.
I feel it in my bones, you're about to move. I feel it in the wind, you're about to ride it. You said that you would pour your spirit out. You said that you would fall on sons and daughters. So come. Yes, come. Oh, yeah. I feel it in my bones, you're about to move. I feel it in the wind, you're about to ride it. You said that you would pour your spirit out. You said that you would fall on sons and daughters. So like the rain, come drench us in love. Let your glory rush in like the flood. 'Cause we are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness, see your glory. We're transformed by this one thing, to know your presence, see your beauty. Oh yeah. Oh, we wanna see it, God. And I can see it now, your kingdom come. And I can hear it now, the sound of heaven. You said that if we ask, we will receive. So we are asking for the greater measure. So like the rain, come drench us in love. Let your power rush in like a flood. We are fixed on this one thing, to know your goodness, see your glory. We're transformed by this one thing, to know your presence, see your beauty. Oh yeah. Oh, open our eyes to see God. Come and blow on through. Spirit move. We're ready for you to come and blow on through. Come and do what only you can do. So come and blow on through. Oh, Spirit move.
does it mean to choose the good? I want to read a statement to you and then we'll dive in. People say it's the thought that counts, but thoughts never comforted a friend, provided a meal, or visited someone in the hospital. Thoughts that don't result in actions are just vapors of missed opportunity. Right believing seems to be the concern of many people these days, but if right believing doesn't result in right living, then it's all just a philosophical mental exercise. As followers of Jesus, we are compelled to demonstrate our faith through our actions. Two phrases we often hear these days are living in the moment and being fully present. These are good ways to think about the impact of your next choice. Choosing the good is a moment-by-moment process that Jesus wants to help you master. What did I mean by right believing should produce right living? Let me say it again. Right believing should produce right living. In James chapter 1, we have this statement. I love the Message paraphrase here. It says, anyone who sets himself up as religious by talking a good game is self-deceived. This kind of religion is hot air and only hot air. Real religion, the kind that passes muster before God the Father, is this: reach out to the homeless and loveless in their plight and guard against the corruption from this godless world. I really believe that there are so many people right now in the Christian culture that are trying to make sure they believe all the right things. And really, to me, this is what's caused all the division across denominations within the church. I go back to the Reformation, which I actually believe is the largest church split in history. Although Luther had brought a restoration to an original revelation that the just shall live by faith, there's more to it than that. But he really also just caused this huge church divide. Not a popular opinion, but really we have to go back to the living out of our faith. And is there fruit on the tree? I mean, Jesus said, you'll know a tree by its fruit. I mean, I don't have to drill into an apple tree in the trunk and take out a core sample from the internal DNA to determine that's an apple tree. I just have to look at the fruit. It's like, oh, there's apples. That's an apple tree. This is the really method Jesus has chosen to allow the world, or those who are not awake to the reality of Christ in them, the hope of glory, those who have not yet seen Jesus as the God that came to become one of us, who knows what it's like to be you, and who has welcomed you into the family. The people that are not awake to that truth yet are looking for fruit. They're looking for proof. And Jesus said that they will know you're my followers by your love one for another. And so really the world has the right to judge us on how well we're loving. And so let me just go back into the choosing of the good. This is really a day-by-day, moment-by-moment thing that you have to engage in. And like I said earlier, living in the moment and being fully present, I think, are good phrases to articulate the awareness that we need to have to say, hey, my next decision is going to either connect the kingdom of God or the kingdom of darkness. I mean, if you went that drastic and thought about it in that way, then it surely would help us wake up to choosing the good and making the right decisions. But really, the Bible tells us straight up that faith without works is dead. James in chapter 2 said it this way: you say you have faith, for you believe there's one God. Good for you. Even the demons believe this, and they tremble in terror. How foolish. Can't you see that faith without good deeds is useless? Let's set something straight here. It's not your good deeds that in any way, shape, or form earn you the love of God and earn you a position of right standing in His family. No, not at all. The sacrifice of Jesus on the cross actually procured your righteousness. You were made righteous. He was made to be sin so that you were made to be righteous. The condition and disease of sin that was infecting all of mankind was completely dealt with at the cross. And when Jesus said it is finished, that's it. Grace is getting what you don't deserve, getting the fullness of becoming like God and one with God in the act of Jesus on the cross and his resurrection. And really that's the good news that we proclaim. But in James here it says the saying yes to that good news should result in some good works happening in your life. Good works are a result of your connection to Jesus. And I would say this, your next decision is determined by your thoughts. So how important is it to, govern what you're thinking? I heard it said from, I think it was Kenneth Hagin said this, thoughts are like birds circling around your head. You can't stop them from flying around your head, but you can prevent them from building a nest in your hair. And so it is with thoughts. The things we think about, the things we're meditating on, the things we're obsessing over, they're building a stronghold in our thinking. So are we choosing the good? And we find this concept, which I'm going to call think on these things. Just real simple, think on these things. And it's just a straight line from Philippians chapter 4, verse 8. Let me read it to you and then we'll go into it, kind of break it down piece by piece. But it says, now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing, fix your thoughts. Fix, secure, anchor, lock in your thoughts on what is true, honorable, right, pure, lovely, and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. So let's unpack those statements and kind of just discuss them individually. First thing he said is fix your thoughts on what is true. I distinguish between truth and facts. I have a degree in journalism. I wanted to be a famous photojournalist. And I know that, the whole statement of just the facts, ma'am, just the facts, let's stick with the facts. We assign truth to facts, but the reason there needs to be an updated newspaper every day, I'm already aging myself right now, or an update to the website or the story, is because facts change. Truth does not. As we get more information, we get more facts. And so to me, the way this plays in what we're thinking and what we're meditating on is in association with your identity. There's a truth about who you are. And your behavior is not necessarily your identity, or your actions are not necessarily your identity. That may be a moment of acting a certain way, but it's not the truth about who you are. And I would say it this way, calling out other people's identity, including your own, is greater than critiquing incidents. What do I mean by that? Well, the incidents that happen in our lives and the actions that we take are moment-by-moment behavioral decisions. But Jesus said, you are the righteousness. You are my righteousness found in me. And you are a child of God. You are an image bearer of the Almighty. And so the truth about you is something that needs to be deeply embedded in you so that it can override those individual facts and bring you and call you back to your true identity, so those individual behaviors and facts can become choosing the good. They can become things you choose the good with. I think in the way that we deal with other people is this, instead of just critiquing incidents and calling out the negative things that are happening in people, what if you called them to their true identity? This happened to me in a store the other day. There was a cashier, and I watched her interaction with a really rude person that was shopping there, and she was so calm and so kind, and she walked through the whole thing with this amazing level of really loving, even in spite of the fact that I know she wanted to just go off on this person, and I understand it's her job. But I asked her straight up, I said, after the guy left, I said, hey, I watched that whole interaction. How did you navigate that? And she goes, well, we're trained to do that and whatnot. I said, no, I think there's something deeper. I think I see in you an attribute that I see in Jesus, and his ability to have self-control, his ability to, return good for evil. And when I put it in that context, man, she lit up, and she was like, wow, I never thought about it that way. I never thought about it that, God created me to be that way. See, this is calling people to the truth. So meditate on those things that are true if you're going to choose the good. The next word here is that we are to fix our thoughts on what is honorable. This word honorable means high respect or great esteem, and it largely has to do with your intentions. Are your intentions honorable? I mean, as a father of daughters, I would ask a young man, hey, what are your intentions with my daughter? Are they honorable? I guess the way that we would choose the good and the honorable in this situation is, will this action bring Jesus glory or grief? There's so many things going on in the church right now that, are really putting a dark image on Christianity as a whole. I don't think Jesus is actually too worried about his reputation. In my estimation, his reputation is just fine and will stand the test of time. And yet, there are people who will only see Jesus by the Jesus they see in you. And so which Jesus are you presenting? The honorable and choosing of the good is to really ask yourself, will this action that I'm going to take, this next step, will it bring Jesus glory or grief? The next thought here in Philippians is fix your thoughts on those things that are right. To be right is to be morally good or justified or acceptable. Kind of comes into play with the question of, am I doing the right thing? And I will say, if you're going to choose the good, then love is always the right thing. Do what love would do. Be patient, be kind, don't be self-seeking, don't be rude. Don't be rude. This is choosing the right thing. The next one is pure. Are we fixing our thoughts on those things that are pure? Purity has to deal not with like goody-goody holiness necessarily, but it means to be free of any contamination. It means to be not mixed. You're not mixing something in. In Galatians, we find the fact that they were mixing law and grace. They were saying, the sacrifice of Jesus brings grace to you, and there's nothing you can do to earn it, but you also need to be circumcised. And I think we do this all the time in our Christian culture. It's like, you need Jesus, but you also need to stop doing this and stop doing that and start doing this and start doing that. Mixture is part of adding something to Jesus. It's Jesus plus. And the moment we do that, we are slipping into our good works justifying us before God, as opposed to Jesus and his work making us justified before God. So think about your own purity of thought. Are you mixing in your self-righteousness with things? Think on those things that are pure if you're going to choose the good. Another thought here is to fix our thoughts on things that are lovely. And this word here, it means exquisitely beautiful. Things that are exquisitely beautiful. I just think about like nature and artwork, things that, my wife in our home, if I could take the camera around our home, she's created such a beautiful environment. We have plants, and she loves to have everything in its place and clean, and obviously I help with that process, but she's just good at it. She's good at making things exquisitely beautiful. If I were to have a place, it would probably look like my dorm room in college. But man, Sarah loves to surround herself with things that are beautiful. And so everywhere we look in our home, there's glimpses of beauty, and it's lovely. It's exquisitely beautiful. It's attractive. It's pleasing to look at. And this is really where our thoughts need to land on things that are lovely. Is, am I pleasing to look at and listen to? Is what's coming out of my mouth and what's coming out of my life and my actions, is it lovely? It's a tough one to ask, and I think the more we engage with the loveliness of Jesus, the more we are able to demonstrate that loveliness to other people. Thinking on things here, finally, that are admirable. Admirable. This word means arousing or deserving respect and approval. You would say a person has a really admirable quality. They're totally honest. They're so honest all the time. It means commendable. Are your thoughts admirable? Are they deserving of respect and approval? If not, man, let's cast them out. And then finally, it says here to fix your thoughts on things that are excellent and worthy of praise. What in your life is excellent and worthy of praise? And what in the lives of others? Are you, you got to stop, I'm telling you, you got to stop looking for problems and errors in other people's lives, including your own. Catch people doing something good. I think about this with my kids. I mean, as a dad, I want to raise them, in the right way, my daughters. And a lot of times I focus more on what they're doing wrong and trying to fix that, as opposed to really catching them doing something good and amplifying the kind of behavior that I really would like to see. Man, can you be yourself? I mean, can you be that way with yourself? Could you amplify the kind of behavior that you'd like to see, as opposed to try and, reproduce the behavior that you don't like to see? This requires fixing your thoughts on things that are excellent and worthy of praise. One final thought here before we leave, and that is that people need to be seen and heard, including you. You need to be seen, you need to be heard. I think one simple way to choose the good, and I'll just leave you with this very practical, pragmatic way of choosing the good, and that is when you think about someone. Someone just flashes into your mind. I'll be driving down the road and I'll just randomly think about, someone in my life. Definitely say a prayer for them, but follow it up with a call or a text. It's really simple. Do it right away. Just think about that person and let that be a trigger to do two things: pray for them and call them. Or, if you're not a caller, text them. And just say, hey, I was thinking about you. Hope everything's okay. Or maybe speak a good word over them. Do for others what you wish others would do for you. And when we do this, people become seen and they become heard. I'm going to finish with this scripture because really it all comes down to the motivation of love. If you're going to choose the good, you're going to have to be motivated by love. And, this passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, let me read it to you from the Message paraphrase and then just have a quick thought about it. But it says, if I give everything I own to the poor and even go to the stake to be burned as a martyr, but don't love, I've gotten nowhere. So no matter what I say, what I believe, and what I do, I'm bankrupt without love. Man, what an indictment. I'm bankrupt without love. Love never gives up. Love cares more for others than for self. Love doesn't want what it doesn't have. Love doesn't strut. Love doesn't have a swelled head. It doesn't force itself on others. It isn't always me first. It doesn't fly off the handle. It doesn't keep score of the sins of others. It doesn't revel when others grovel. It takes pleasure in the flowering of truth. It puts up with anything. Trusts God always. Always looks for the best. Never looks back, but keeps going to the end. Love chooses the good. And I'm going to encourage you to choose the good. Let that be your focus for this week. Let that be the focus of your life, with the motivation of love to always choose the good. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Thank you for your generosity. We are serving a ministry called Caterpillar Ministries here in Charlotte. They provide tutoring, backpacks, school supplies, food to a really struggling, underserved community right here in the area around our church. They do such a great job, and we love to support them. If you give this month, it's going to go towards Caterpillar Ministries. Just give online at rivercharlotte.com. If you use the drop-down menu, if you give to missions and outreach, 100% of that goes to Caterpillar Ministries this month. If you want to give to just the daily operations of River Church and the message that you're hearing today, and help establish the kingdom here in Charlotte, just give to the regular offering drop-down menu there. But thank you for your giving. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your generosity. We never want to shame people into trying to give or twist their arm. Man, we want you to give out of the joy of your heart and out of your overflow. Let's close with a confession here today. Would you just repeat this after me? Right where you're sitting, just repeat this after me. God is good. My next choice will be good. Jesus is helping me. I'm looking for the good in others. Hey, have a great week. Love you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. If you are new or if you have any prayer requests, be sure to visit our website so that we can connect with you.
We will see you guys next week.